Hey guys, Fizz here bringing you another video. Now this is a AD Fizz guide for patch 5.3. And just before we get into the guide, I thought I'd quickly explain a couple things. Firstly, this is an introduction guide. This is not going to turn you into an amazing AD Fizz player overnight. It's just to introduce you to the idea of the champion, give you some thoughts and give you some ideas that you can take into your own games, with also giving you, basic runes, masteries, etc. It's up to you to expand that knowledge to become a good AD Fizz. Now also, just be a bit wary that this is for patch 5.3, so if you're watching this video in a few months' time, it could change. AD Fizz is a thing right now, but who knows, in a month or so, Riot may decide to get rid of it. So before you comment, just make sure you look at the uploaded date of the video. So, this is what we're going to be covering in today's guide. We're going to be going over the runes and masteries of AD Fizz, item builds, and the skill order. Just very briefly, all that type of thing, just to get out of the way. And then finally, we'll be mainly focusing in on actual gameplay, how to have an effective lane phase, and also how to be effective late game. As these are the two big stumbling things that I also always see people do with AD Fizz. They either don't know how to lane properly and get behind, or they get ahead in lane phase and they actually don't know what they're supposed to be doing late game. Now, this is the page for runes and masteries for AD Fizz. Now, if you want to have a further look, more detailed look, feel free to pause the video. But all I'll say about this, runes and masteries are open to interpretation and preference. There is no such thing as a best rune page or a best mastery page. If you want to do something differently, go ahead. This is just what I personally use, and it's helped me thus far win several games. So again, it's just a standard AD build with attack speed that also focuses in on auto-attacking people on the left mastery points there, with using spells, etc. And then the standard runes of just, helping your AD with also some survivability. You could change some of these out, if you want to have pure 9 armor, then you can do so. You could get rid of the attack quint or attack speed quint if you wanted to. Again, it's open to interpretation, but this is what I use, and I'd recommend if you're completely brand new to the whole thing around AD Fizz. Now this is the page for items and skill order. Again, the first thing I want to say is it is open to interpretation or preference. If you don't like this, do it your own way. That is completely fine. This is what I just recommend to somebody who's completely new to AD Fizz. So, the must-needed item on Fizz. To me, the only one that you truly need is Triforce, with also one of the tier 2 boot options. Some people who play AD Fizz also go Sorcerer boots. I personally don't, but if you want to do that, go ahead. And then the standard build order with what I think is the most optimum way to play Fizz is early to mid damage, with also going tank late game. So your start will be a Flask or a Doran's Blade, depending what you're against. Then hopefully a Sheen first, which will give you burst in lane. Then the Phage into the Triforce. Get your tier 2 boots after the Triforce. And then if you are looking strong, if you're looking, you're going to kill people, look to build the Blade of the Ruined King. The Blade of the Ruined King gives you your late game pressure in dueling. And then after that, go pure tank. There are a number of tank items that I have shown here. Randuin's Banshees, Mortimer Mortius, Frozen Heart, etc. Build whatever is needed. That is the one thing when you are playing a tank-like champion, is there is no build order. There is only good items or good situational items, and it's up to you to pick what items is good for the right situation. So, then going into the skill order, you want to be maxing your W. W is, again, where you have your dueling power, it's your health percentage, damage on auto attacks, and then after that, you can either max E or you can max Q second. I tend to go with E just to have it off cooldown a little bit more, so you can actually dodge some more damage here and there. But I do also, I've tried it myself and I have seen people max Q second. Obviously maxing ultimate whenever possible. And the final thing I want to say is your level 1 skill point. It doesn't have to be W. If you are more comfortable to take Playful Trickster first, just to be a bit more safe, because you can dodge abilities, etc., then you feel free to do that. This is just what I'd recommend if you're fairly confident with the champion and you're not scared of getting hit by like a Morgana bind for some reason at level 1. But there you go. So this is the lane phase section. This is where I'm just going to be talking about the lane phase of Fizz while some footage is on the background. This is taken from my stream. Me on camera right there is not actually talking to you guys. Again, that is just from the stream. So, lane phase Fizz is a quite unique champion. The way that I would best describe it is it's a more aggressive Aurelia. And there are definite power spikes like there is Aurelia. So, just to name a few of the power spikes when you're playing AD Fizz, when you have Sheen, when you get your Phage, and when you finish Triforce, and then eventually Blade of the Ruined King. They are some very, very big power spikes that if you do well, you can achieve all of them in lane phase. Now, just to quickly explain also how Fizz plays matchups, is that you can play AD Fizz into everything. And yes, I did say that. As mentioned, he has a very similar playstyle to Aurelia. And again, many of you know Aurelia can play against everything. You just have to alter your playstyle depending what you're against. You know, if you're against an AP, you just try and burst them with Sheen. If you're against an AD or a tank, basically just free farm and look to kill them mid-late game with Bork. Just alter your playstyle depending what you're against. Now, I'm in this game, I'm against a Tryndamere, and he makes a vital mistake of getting behind in XP, and I am able to just, you know, completely obliterate him at certain points. Now, another thing I kind of want to say before I get into actually how to lane is your ultimate as AD Fizz. Here's the thing, when AP Fizz used to be a thing, you had to hit your ultimate in order to, like, effectively one-shot people. You could still one-shot people, but to make sure you do, you have to hit your ultimate. AD Fizz does not rely on his ultimate to do damage. The thing that you rely on your ultimate to do is let you catch up to them. If they flash away, if they have a escape, that's when you use your ultimate simply to knock them up so you can catch them, so you can kill them. Because again, AD Fizz is a auto-attack reliant champion, more so than AP Fizz is. So just bear that in mind. Now, how you lane as AD Fizz, again, it's kind of like, I keep on hammering that point. If you can play Aurelia, you can play this champion, as it's very much look for quick damage whenever it's available. So always when you want to go in on an enemy, make sure that you have your W up and you have your Q available, and simply do this over and over again. W on, Q through the enemy, auto attack them once, and then Playful's Trickster away. If you repeat that, rinse and repeat it 3 or 4 times, get them to about a third health, then when you have your ultimate, you can just ultimate onto them, make sure you get on top of them, and you'll be able to get free kills. And it's a very easy thing to do. You know, Fizz is not a hard champion. He's probably even easier as an AD than an AP because you're not reliant on your ultimate. But just keep auto-attacking them, keep just playful trickstering away from their damage and going in whenever possible. And that's how you win your lane phase. Now, an effective Fizz will also last hit quite efficiently. Obviously, that's just one thing to say, again, like everything. And it's quite unique. The first time you ever play AD Fizz, you may get thrown off a little bit with last hitting, but after a little while, you'll be fine. Now, just also, finally, to wrap up the lane phase, as I said at the start of this, don't be scared to play AD Fizz into anything. A lot of people seem to be scared of Rivens right now. I actually pick AD Fizz into Riven and I absolutely destroy them because you rinse and repeat the auto attack QW combo and then you E out before she can even do any damage, or you E her win/ultimate. So that is AD Fizz in lane phase. Hopefully this a little bit of advice just has helped you pick up the champion. So this is the final section to the introductory guide for AD Fizz, and it is a late game. How to be effective in the late game. Now, as an AD Fizz, you have 2 options. You have the split push, or you have helping in team fights. Both are effective if done in the right way as AD Fizz. And let's just quickly go over how you do both of them. So, AD Fizz as a split pusher is, again, very effective, as you are a great duelist and incredible scaling into the late game. With a Triforce, with a Blade of the Ruined King, and then pure tank, there are not many champions that actually can kill you in a 1v1, and you'll be surprised how much damage a Fizz actually does. So, if you say are in late game, and you have your teleport, which again, I have not said yet, but I'd recommend taking teleport in AD Fizz, go to bottom lane when your team are looking to do Baron, split pusher all the way up. If an enemy comes, you can either try and 1v1 them, or if there's 2 enemies on the way to you, your team can start Baron, and you can either look to kill them in a 2v1, or just simply try and escape with Playful Trickster. As mentioned, Fizz is great late game, so do not be surprised if you have enough strength to 2v1 champions. I've done it several times myself. The only champions that you tend to struggle with against as an AD Fizz are percentage health damage dealing AP champions with CC. So a very niche like champion pool there that actually can take you out. As I'd probably say, Lissandra is quite effective against you, but if you itemize in the right way with a lot of MR, then she won't be able to do anything. So yeah, you can split push as an AD Fizz. You also take towers very quickly with Bork and Triforce, and you know, getting the procs on Sheen with your W, etc. So that is an effective way to play in late game. The other way is as a team fighting champion. Now with any team fighting champion or any team fight in the game, it is situational of how you play the team fight. Whether you're going to go for the squishies in the back line or whether you're going to kill the tank in the front line. As AD Fizz, you can do either, both, like, very effectively. You have a lot of burst as AD Fizz, but what you also have is tank pressure. You can kill tanks as an AD Fizz because you have gone the Bork route with also your percentage health on W. The current meta is in such a way that Sion top is popular because of how much health he gets, and AD carries, or a lot of the AD carries that are currently being played, don't actually deal with tanks very well. Namely, Graves is the best example. Graves does not build Bork, so if he has a 5,000 health Sion in front of him, he's not going to be able to do a lot to him. But as an AD Fizz, you can kill that 5,000 health Sion very, very easily. So you've just got to weigh up the team fight and just go with whatever's better. I can't really advise, obviously, always go for squishies or always go for tanks, because it's just whatever's best in that situation. Now that is pretty much it for this little introductory guide. I hope it just helped you learn a little bit about the champion before going in solo queue or normals yourself. And that's pretty much it. So if you enjoyed this introductory guide, please put a like on the video, comment below with some suggestions for future champions, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. So, goodbye.